Let's get into the manifesto, you guys. Let's go through this together. I think it's important for us to ride through this together. This is what I have a problem with. What do I look at? What am I seeing when I see this? First things first, you guys, I'm looking at the bold letters, right? Was there a particular event or reason you decided to commit to a violent attack? Um, Here's my problem with this question. It's almost as if one, he is speaking to himself, or two, this is some template that he got from the group that he's a part of, right? If this is a template, these are already pre-written questions for them to answer. It's a way for you to dive into your own psyche, dive into your own level of commitment to the cause, right? These are all pre-made questions. He's answering questions in this manifesto, like a research paper, right? What does he say? Let's dive into it because it gets interesting, you guys. It gets interesting. He said, before I began, I will say that I was not born a racist, nor grew up to be racist. I simply became racist after I learned the truth. After I learned the truth. He said, I started browsing 4chan in May 2020. This is the problem, you guys. One thing I've learned about kids or young people who engage in deviant activities, they do research. They go online, right? When they do things that are very abnormal, that are not natural, they spend so much time on the internet that they find a new way of living. They find a new mindset through the internet. You guys, you can go on YouTube today and learn how to be a witch. You can learn how to be a warlock. You can learn how to cast spells on people. You can change your, I know people who have changed their religion from messing around online. You guys, we see it. The indoctrination is very subtle. And if you have a fragile mind, a bored mind, right? You're questioning reality and you have no guidance. These kids go on the internet to find their truth. We talk about it all the time. We have these fake gurus online who are trying to teach and educate people on how to live, giving them false doctrine. You guys, if you don't, this is why the parents are so important. Yes, 4chan is like the devil's playground for those who know about it. It's like a junior dark web. It's like the junior dark web for those who don't know it. You know, you guys, there's some dark spaces on the internet. A lot of sick people are galvanized on the internet. Yep. Very sick, you guys. What does he say? He was playing around on 4chan. Again, you guys, it's the devil's playground. He said in May 2020, after the extreme boredom, he has two parents. They're both engineers. This kid is saying he's bored. Remember, this was during the outbreak of COVID. Listen, you guys, when I have kids, they're not going to have no damn computers or none of that. Internet, none of that. None of that. You can't control it. You cannot control it. I was doing a video when I first started YouTube, and I was trying to make a comparison between the back of a trunk of a car, a man's trunk and a woman's trunk. And I was trying to be funny, make a joke, right? And I said, I want to look up some pictures because everybody knows if you pop the trunk, on a woman's car. What does it look like, y'all? A hot mess in there. A hot mess. I haven't met one woman yet whose trunk didn't look like her closet. So I Googled the image and said, a woman's car trunk. And you know what pulled up? A list of women who've been stuffed in trunks and killed. You know, it was so shocking to me. I ended up doing a video about it, about women being put in trunks of cars by an intimate partner. You guys, it blew me away. Again, the internet is so sensitive. Kids on there Googling things in an innocent nature can fall and stumble on things that they have no business seeing. Words, right? Words. Words, words, words. The power of words. He said, I normally browse K because I'm a gun nut. Right? He's admitting, he said, look, I love guns. Right? We know this to be true. I'm a gun nut because I love the outdoors. And I eventually wound up on POL. There I learned through infographics, shit posts, and memes that the white race is dying out. This is what he says. The white race is dying out. The blacks are disproportionately killing whites. That the average black takes $700,000 from taxpayers in their lifetime, and that the Jews and elite were behind this. From there, I also found other sites like World Truth Videos website, dailyarchives.org, dailystormer.cn, where through data and exposure to real information, I learned the truth. What is he saying? He's an ignorant mind being indoctrinated by things he doesn't understand. This is why on this channel, I constantly tell people, stop listening to people who don't know what they're talking about. It's so easy, just as easy as he's been indoctrinated and swept through a myth and a bunch of foolish theories. He wasn't mature enough to understand what he was hearing. No guidance, you guys. This is why I say it's so important to be careful who you listen to. We see these things play out in the Black community all the time. I talk about it on this channel. I tell you that fear mongering, is dangerous. When people give you false information, inaccurate information, they play on your emotions. What is he saying? He's saying that, hey, my emotions got wrapped up into this thing. I'm listening. I'm going down this rabbit hole. I'm learning things. I'm exposing myself to things that I have no business being exposed to. This is the dangers of it. This is the dangers of it. I talk about it all the time. All the time. And when there is disinformation that's being put out, if you're not careful, you fall for it. You guys, we're all being played, white and black, right? The whole idea is that we're fighting each other and not fighting the people who are responsible for the conditions of this country. So they make you believe that your enemy is white. They make you believe that your enemy is black. You guys, that's not true. It's absolutely not true, but a lot of us fall for it every single day. Every day. Every single day. You go on Twitter, Jesus Christ. It's almost as if it's a reflection of this country on Twitter. Some of our best and brightest, most intelligent people, some of the highest ranking people in this country, politicians, government officials on Twitter, sound like clowns. They're an embarrassment. And you guys, we're the pawns. And we are the pawns playing right into the game every single time. What did he say? Blacks are disproportionately killing white people. That's not true. That's absolutely not true. Again, this is the power of misinformation, disinformation. We talked about it here. Why do black people hate the police? Right? Because they're getting information that's not accurate. Oh, they're killing us. They're killing us. Right? What we talked about last time. Hey, someone said, show me a white Tamir Rice. Show me a white Breonna Taylor. It doesn't happen. That's not true. That's not true. So now this gentleman on here is believing that black people are killing white people disproportionately. That's not true. But perception is reality. As you think it, so shall you be. Again, this is why I talk about it over here, that we have to stop falling for the propaganda as black people, because then we get in contact with the police and then we act irrational. Now this young man said, hey, you guys, I wasn't born a racist. Of course you weren't. Nobody is. You're either taught or you're indoctrinated. Right? And if he knew better, he would know black people kill black people more than white people kill white people. A weak mind. A weak mind. An emotional mind is easily manipulated. Now, this piece I don't know about, but I don't know. He says that the average black takes $700,000 from taxpayers. I don't know. I'd have to disagree with that too. And I will tell you why I disagree with that. Because there's more poor white people than there are poor black people. So if we're talking about who's getting government assistance, more white people get government assistance than black people. Come on now. But this is the stuff that's playing on ignorant people's emotions. And ignorant people do ignorant things. He thinks that black people are ruining white people's lives. At what part of history did he start reading? It makes you wonder. Again, the problem is our country has the ability to educate people properly on the truth, and they choose not to. And you guys, this is a byproduct of false information, fear mongering, and propaganda. I'm black and I don't get no money from the government either. I barely get my taxes back that I put in. Right? Man, please. Where's he getting this stuff from? He believes it. And granted, this information came from somewhere. He's getting this from someone. He's not the only one who thinks like this. Here's the part that's a kicker, right? He says, we are doomed. He said, we are doomed. We are doomed by low birth rates. I can't even highlight you guys. This is a photo. He says, we are doomed by low birth rates and high rates of immigration. Okay, there's truth to that. Are they doomed? No, because you can go back to Europe. Right? You can always go back to Europe. Low birth rates. Yes, this is true. I don't know why that's happening. I don't know if white women are deciding to not have as many children, or they're waiting longer, or if they're having a difficult time. I don't know. I don't know the data on the research on that, but I do know the birth rate and for white people has declined significantly, actually, if I'm not mistaken. But don't quote me on that. I have to double check. If anybody knows, I'm curious to know what that exact number is. But I do know it has been dropping. So what is he saying? He's saying there immigration is an issue, but that's a political problem. So you can't be mad at immigrants or black people, right? They have nothing to do with that. Be mad at the politician. Listen, take this fight to the politicians. Black people have nothing to do with this. What does he say? He gets his news from the front page of Reddit. For those who don't know Reddit, right? Reddit is like an advanced form of Wikipedia. Okay. Yes, it is happening in Japan too. The difference with Japan is that the women are choosing not to have kids. It's not that they can't have them; they're choosing not to because women are pursuing careers longer, and they're competing and they're successful. So a lot of the Japanese women are like, "No, I don't want to have any children. I'm making money. I'm independent. I'm good." So they have a steep drop in birth rates in Japan, to the point to where the government is paying people to have children. Make that make sense? They are paying people to have kids in Japan. And back in the day with China, they were killing the girls. If you had a girl, you had a one-child policy, right? It's different everywhere. It's so weird. It's so weird. Every country suffering from their own different thing. It's very interesting. Small ETOH, estrogen, direct decrease. ETOH? What is ETOH? Eth? I was about to say ethanol. ETOH. What is that? That's interesting. I'm gonna have to look that up. Let's dive back into this. What is he saying? He gets his information from ethanol. Thank you for the scientists on the page. ETO. Alcohol. Okay, so what did he say now? Let me go back to this. He said small amounts of ethanol increases estrogen in women 2,000%. This is a direct decrease in birth rates. This is a direct decrease in birth rates. Okay. All right. What's good? What's good? What's good, Jay Black? What's good with you, brother? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome everybody. If you're just getting in, please hit the like button on your way in. We're going through the manifesto. Please hit the like button on the way in for the wacky algorithm that is YouTube. What did he say? First front page of Reddit is where he gets his news. That's a problem, right? That's a problem. Again, what do we see, you guys? These are parents who are not in their child's life. They're not active, not paying attention. They're not picking up on cues or none of that. Their kid is just out here living his best life on the internet. And we see what happens here. He says, I didn't care at the time, but as I learned more and more, I realized how serious the situation was. You're 18 years old. Get a job, right? Get a job like regular people. That's how you fix the problem. Eventually, I couldn't take it anymore. I told myself that eventually I was going to kill myself to escape this fate. I don't know. Sounds like some BS to me. Or, according to his issues last year at school, again, it's clearly he suffered from some mental issues, you guys. This is very, very, very possible. What does he say? He said, but then after browsing POL, one day I saw a short GIF of a man walking into a building and shooting a shotgun through a dark hallway. I didn't think anything of it. But then I saw it again and I looked up who this person was. I thought to myself, why did this person do it? That person was Brenton Tarrant, you guys. That is a gentleman from New Zealand that I told you about. For those who don't know, Brenton Tarrant is that mass shooter who killed 51 people at 2 different mosques in New Zealand, right? 51 people. That's a hate crime. A sick, twisted individual. This is who he's saying. This is who inspired him. He's watching a clip, watching a video of him. This goes to show what could politicians do with stuff like this? When things like this happen, these things need to be wiped off the internet. He's saying he was inspired by the actions of a mass shooter. He wanted to learn more why he did it. You guys, he ended up reading his manifesto. Right? This is dangerous. What does he say? He said, after some searches, I found the 17-minute live stream of him attacking the Al Noor Mosque. I eventually found the manifesto and I read it. And I found that I mostly agreed with him. Could you imagine? This man goes to 2 different mosques. He kills 51 people, right? I just told you earlier that there was a situation where he shot and killed a 3-year-old who was clinging on his father's leg. He said, finally, you guys, and listen, this is why he decided to live stream. This is what you would even argue as a copycat killer. copycat. He found value in what Trenton did, and he wanted to emulate that. So he live streamed his own killing. He live streamed it. This is where he got the idea from. Sick. So finally I thought to myself, perhaps there's a chance that we can combat this. Combat what? Combat what? You know, um, what's interesting is this mindset. He's saying combat what? Where do we see this recently? This mentality of I need to do something. I need to stand up and fight for these, and I need to do something. Right? I'm a kid, but I need to put myself out here. Who we see this with? Right? What's the name of that kid who picked up his rifle and wanted to defend the property in his hometown? He drove from Chicago, right? Right? You guys remember him? Kyle Rittenhouse. Now, I did a video about him. About Kyle Rittenhouse. And people were confused. Someone said Kyle Kylie. People were confused. I did a video about him and I said he wasn't guilty. I never said he wasn't an idiot. I never said he didn't have issues, you guys. I said he wasn't guilty. You know, when I do these videos and I break down body cameras and I break down shootings and incidents, you guys, I'm giving you the truth. I'm giving to you based on law. I'm giving to you from a perspective of an officer who has 13 years experience. I don't have to agree with someone to understand whether or not the law is on their side. I don't. Kyle Rittenhouse said that he wanted to stand up and protect his hometown from rioters and looters. It's like, sir, you're a kid. That's not your job. He should have never been out there. But it doesn't mean the law does not apply to him. And it doesn't mean the law isn't there to protect him either. But this is that ideology. This is that type of thinking. Where did that come from? There's an entitlement there. There's an absolute entitlement there. And their entitlements mirror each other. They mirror each other. Kyle Rittenhouse and this gentleman here, their entitlement mirrors each other. Yes. There you go. The law and feelings are two different things. You guys, I say it all the time. Sometimes we want to make a moral argument, but this isn't about morality. They were talking about the law. What does the law say with Kyle Rittenhouse? You guys, it's facts over feelings over here. The law was on his side. The law was absolutely on his side. He was an idiot. He shouldn't have been out there. You guys, but those are moral arguments. He was too young, right? That's a moral argument. But their mentality definitely mirrors when it comes to this entitlement. That I think that I can do something. I'm called to do it. No, you're not, sir. You need to sit down somewhere. Right? What does he say? Maybe we combat this hedonistic, nihilistic, and individualist insanity. Jesus Christ. Do you hear this guy? Hedonistic. What does he mean by that? Self-indulgence. People who just care about, right, themselves. Pleasure. indulging, overindulgence in pleasure. That's what he says. This is interesting. Maybe we can combat the hedonistic and nihilistic. What does nihilistic mean? Has something to do with religion. Removing all religion. What is it? What is it? Let me look it up. Let me be clear. Rejecting all religious and moral principles and the belief that life is meaningless, right? Life is meaningless. This kid now, is he saying this or is he getting this from somewhere? Right? An individualist insanity that has taken control of Western thought. I then found other fighters like Patrick Crucius, Anders Breivik, Dylan Roof, and John Earnest. As you guys already know, these guys are other like-minded individuals who participated in mass shootings, right? These men fought for me and had the same goals I did. It was there I asked myself, why don't I do something? You guys, this is the mentality, right? Exactly, Dwayne, exactly. How incredibly ironic that he cites nihilism but commits the ultimate act of such. Yeah, absolutely. Because he's an idiot. And again, he falls into I don't even want to say that. What does he say? He said, "Why don't I do something?" Finally, I felt awakened. It was there I started to think about committing to an attack, to commit to violence. I would follow Tarrant's lead and the attacks of so many others like him. No longer would I just accept our replacement. No longer would I just accept our genocide. What is he saying, you guys? What is he saying? There's a fear. He has a fear of black people. He has a fear of people who are not white. He believes that he's being replaced. You're not being replaced. This is the dangers of this false doctrine, this false information, these lies, this propaganda. White people are being replaced. No, you're not. No, you're not. One would argue that you're just going back to your original place, right? Melanated. Melanated. Yeah, eugenics. Eugenics. And absolutely right. Out of all the things he could think of, mass murder was the first thing that came to mind, right? He could have put a rally together, say, "Hey guys, let's move. Let's move to Europe. Let's move back, a back to Europe movement." How come that could not be a possibility? Right? Let's 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 go back to Europe. Shout out to Marcus Garvey. He could have been the Marcus Garvey of white people. Hey, you guys, listen. This country has been it's been too much on us. Black people are taking over. They're costing us so much money in our taxes. They're killing all of us. Every time we turn around, it's another white body is dropped by a black hand. Not only that, our white women are just falling prey to the Mandingo warriors out here, having these mixed babies. All this interracial dating. It's destroying the white race, the white purity. Where did we hear this before, you guys? Where did we hear this talk before? Right? Sounds a little Germish. All right. Sounds like a little Hitler. Sounds like a little Hitler. And what happens with this type of ideology is you start to galvanize like-minded people who, for whatever reason, think that you're right. Next, you know, you have copycats. Again, listen what he's saying. He's talking about Dylan Roof. He's talking about Tarrant. He's highlighting these guys and saying, you guys have motivated me to do this. You guys, this is not going to stop. This is not going to stop. Someone else is going to take up the helm and they're going to do something a lot more brazen. They're going to do something a little bit more creative. And next time, it won't just be one person, it'll be a group of them. Right? What does he say? No longer accept our replacement. This goes back to the replacement theory. Replacement theory. White people you're not being replaced, white people, right? Where is he getting this from? You guys leave. Genocide against white people, that's not a thing. It's not happening. This is absolutely not true. No longer will I willingly serve the people who are trying to end me. Serve people how? Right? I would have to take the fight to the replacers myself. Crazy. Yeah, I mean, and this is the part of the history he's leaving out, right? Diana, you're absolutely right. Right? You brought black people here, and now you're complaining about them being here. It's more so you're complaining because you can't control black people the way you intended to try to control them throughout slavery. Like, why? I never understood the anger behind that. Let's go to the next page real quick. I wanna touch on, what are you guys' thoughts so far before we run on to this next page? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? This part of his manifesto, you guys, he's really, really focusing on, you know what I need to do? I need to turn this air off. I'm about to freeze to death up in here. Hold on. Hold on 1 second, you guys. Hold on. I'm going to cut this air off. I'm about to freeze. All right. What are your thoughts, you guys? What are your thoughts? You think this is going to get worse? Do you think this is going to get worse? Yeah, it definitely gets worse. Shout out to you, Matt. All right. What you laughing for? Let me laughing at me. I'm trying to get it together. The time is all right. We're going on. Yes, divided states of America. That's true. You guys, listen. If they're successfully dividing us, they're successfully getting people to hate one another. Exactly what they wanted. Exactly what they wanted. Let's share this piece right here. I think this is important. Let's dive into this part. This is important, you guys. Let's get into his mindset, right? Can I delete this? Oh, I'm on the wrong side. The manifesto fixates on mass immigration. Mass immigration. What does it talk about? Mass immigration and the higher fertility rates of of the immigrants themselves are causing this increase in population. Well, to be honest, the Hispanic community is getting up there. They're getting up there. They're having a lot of kids. They're not deleting kids like that. Their family structure is on point. They're handling their business. Their numbers are increasing, and they've actually surpassed Black people. So there is a lot of issues with immigration in this country as we see the things that are going on at the border. This country's having a lot of issues, a lot of problems just overall with its leadership. Again, we have a lot of problems in this country, yet we have a president sending billions of dollars overseas, right? To Ukraine, food. We're having shortages we're having shortages now on not breast milk, baby food, right? There's a baby food shortage. And there's issues with them giving baby food away to people who are not in this country. This country is not a priority for some people in leadership. That's just the truth. That's just the truth. So what is he saying? We're experiencing an invasion on a level never seen before. Take that up with your politician, right? He says millions of people pouring across millions of people pouring across our borders legally, invited by the state and corporate entities to replace the white people who have failed to reproduce. Yikes. Failed to create the cheap labor, failed to create new consumers and tax base that the corporations and states need to have to thrive. Hmm. Here we go. What is he talking about? An 18-year-old trying to understand politics from online through a dark website, right? And this is what you get. This crisis of mass immigration and sub-replacement fertility is an assault on the European people that, if not combated, will ultimately result in the complete racial and cultural replacement of the European people. Cultural replacement. Oh, Lord. You can tell he doesn't know history, right? Because if he knew and understood history, he knew that this culture doesn't really belong to European people, right? A lot of this stuff was stolen. A lot of this stuff was stolen. The manifesto, which refers to white genocide, contains the names and says that author, 18-year-olds, is writing this, sole proprietor, recently attempted shooting. So again, this is a very interesting manifesto that he put together, you guys. And I think one of the crazy things about it, he talks about this piece here. He says, I would love to continue, um, but there are bigger problems I'm more concerned with. I'm not a war fighter, nor have I been enrolled in any military tactical training. So excuse any mistakes I make during my attack. I never diagnosed with a mental disability or disorder, and I believe to be perfectly sane. Of course, that's what an insane person would say. So again, what is he doing in his manifesto? He's trying to tell people that, hey, I'm doing this with a clear mind, with a clear conscience. You guys, he's very well a sick person, right? He's a psychopath. This is psychopathic behavior, right? Psychopaths don't know that they're crazy. That's what makes them crazy. That's the very interesting thing about them. Um, where else? Where else? Here's very interesting. It says the next question says, why why did you decide to carry out the attack? He says to show to the replacers that as long as the white man lives, our land will never be theirs, and they will never be safe from us. Hmm. He also leads and says to directly reduce immigration rates to Europe lands by intimidating and physically removing the replacers themselves. Who are the replacers, you guys? Non white people, immigrants, African Americans. He's calling us replacers. Be mindful, this is going to be the new terminology that's going to be used, right? New insults that they're going to use against black people and immigrants. They're going to be called replacers now. This is how it happens. Ignorance is so malignant in this country, guys. People pick up on something someone else did. Next, they start passing it around. To intimidate the replacers already living in our lands to immigrate back to their home countries. Listen, the white man in this country is an immigrant, right? You guys took this land. If everybody just stayed where they were supposed to be, we wouldn't have this problem, right? If everybody just stayed where they were supposed to be, some folks wanted to get on boats and start drifting around and taking stuff that didn't belong to them. How do you steal this land, annihilate groups of people, different ethnic groups of people, the natives, right? You and them Spaniards, right? You guys, the conquistadors, you guys go around and you start messing around and passing diseases and destroying races of people from your mere presence was cancerous. You come to a land and you claim it for your own. It's not yours. It was never yours. Then you go and take people from another country and bring them over here and then turn them into slaves. And then you get mad when they're freed because you can't control them like you want to control them. Free labor. Free labor. Who taught this kid? Who taught him? Obviously, this is the problem with this country. This is the problem when you don't educate people properly. This whole country's history system is flawed and it's grossly inaccurate. Grossly inaccurate. Teach these kids correctly, we wouldn't have these problems. He says to agitate the political enemies of my people into action, to cause them to overextend their own hand and experience the eventual and inevitable backlash as a result, to incite violence, retaliation, and further divide between the European people and the replacers currently occupying European soil. He says to add momentum to the pendulum swings of history, further destabilizing and polarizing Western society in order to eventually destroy the current nihilistic, hedonistic, individualistic insanity that is taking control over Western thought. Again, you guys, this is him. This one says, why did you choose for this place of attack? And he explains, it has the highest Black population percentage per this particular zip code and isn't that far away. He said, plus New York has heavy gun laws, so it would be easy for me if I knew that any legally armed citizen was limited to 10-round magazines or cut firearms. He said, I replaced the name of the city and reduced because, I replaced the name of the city to redact it because I prefer that the FBI and local police don't know until the attack has started. After the attack, can somebody switch it out over, please? You know, this guy is sick. This guy is sick. He's explaining why he chose this location. It's a high population of Black people. He then talks about the gun laws. Now, this is going to be highly politicized. Believe that. They're going to use this. They're going to use this in this upcoming election. This is going to be a big part of them pushing gun rights and things of that nature. They're going to use this and say, hey, if the people of that city did not have strict gun laws, then they would have been safe. They would have been able to protect themselves. Right? They would have been able to protect themselves. You know, the politicians, a lot of them don't really care, you guys. They care about their own self-interest. It's the reason why the country is in the condition that it is in now. Here's what's interesting. They said, are you right-wing? Are you right-wing? Talking about his political affiliation. What does he say? What is Ray Ray talking about? What is Ray Ray talking? Let me pause and look at what Ray Ray's doing. If anybody wants to come up, if anyone has an issue with what I'm saying tonight, or they feel like I might be off a little bit, maybe they have an issue to some sort, maybe they don't agree, or maybe they agree with what the shooter did, you're more than welcome to come up here and have the conversation. If that's you, Ray Ray, there's a Ray Ray in the chat. Ray Ray, if you have something you want to get off your chest. I'm not really paying attention to the comments, but it was brought to my attention that you might have some issues. Moderators, that link right there is for Ray Ray if he decides he wants to grow a backbone and come up here and have a conversation. Let me get back to this. He says, "Are you right wing?" Asking what his political affiliation is. He said, depending on the definition, he says, sure. He said, are you left wing? He said, depending on the definition, he said, sure. He said, are you a socialist? He said, depending on the definition. What does he say? He said, worker ownership of the means of production. It depends on who those workers are. Their intentions, who currently owns the means of production, their intentions, and who are currently owns the state and their intentions. This guy's very interesting. He's really breaking it down. He's breaking it down. You're getting an insight look into how he views politics, which I think is very important. Very important. What do we see here? He said, when I was 12, I was deep into communist ideology. How is that possible when he was 12? Where is his parents at? Where's his parents? I'm not teaching my kids about communism at 12. The parents need to be examined. I would be investigating the parents, you guys. Absolutely. Absolutely. He said, talk to anyone from my old high school and ask about me, and you will hear that. From age 15 to 18, however, I consistently moved farther to the right on the political compass. I fall in the mild, moderate, authoritarian left category, and I would prefer to be called a populist. Populist. I see you, Ironhead. You got a cam up if you want to come up. You got to turn your camera on. Ironhead. Is Ironhead supposed to be Ray Ray? So what does he say? What's a populist, you guys? It's my first time hearing that word. Let me look this up real quick. What is a populist? If anybody knows what a populist is, anybody familiar with that? No, they're definitely going to investigate the parents. They're definitely going to investigate the parents because the parents could very much have well set him on the path that he's on now. A populist, a person, especially a politician who strives to, okay, a person, especially a politician who strives to appeal to ordinary people who feel that their concerns are disregarded by established elite groups. That's interesting. That's the first time I heard that term before. Populist. Very interesting. All right, let's continue through his rant. We went over the fact he was inspired by. So I'll leave that there. I want to pull up this next piece. I think it's important. Let me see. Is this it? Another part of his, he had a list called a plan of action. A plan of action. Device not connected. Come on, Ray Ray. I thought you was coming up. Don't disappoint me now. Don't disappoint me, Ray Ray. Or Riri. That's what we call in the Black community those who don't got it all together. We call them Riris. So come on, Ray Ray. They absolutely need to investigate the parents, right? The parents are going to be key in all this, and of course, this computer is going to be key, which I'm already sure they're on top of it. Nah, Ray, come on. I told you to come up. The link was for you. But you got to cam up. You know how I operate on my channel. You know, scared of the truth. The link is for you, sir or ma'am. The link is for you. Come up and have the conversation. You got to cam up. If you're gonna, if you're gonna talk, you got to cam up. You got to put your words where your face is. Yeah, we don't bite over here, Ray. But we'll put some ether on you though.